Hello and welcome to Finextra. I'm Hannah Wallace, and today I'm joined by James Maudslay of Equinix. And to start off, we'll be talking about open banking. But firstly, James, I want to thank you for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thank you.
Firstly, in respect to open banking, what are some of the practical implications for banks, and how well positioned are they in dealing with them?
The biggest implication of open banking is it lies in the name, open. It's perhaps something that banks are historically not terribly used to doing. And indeed, it's probably fair to say their customers might not be used to them doing it either. So there are, I think, a few implications in this. The first is that, and I think the primary interest of most people in this area is in security. I think it's absolutely fine for customers to want to expose their information to other people, but they definitely would not be happy to do it if they didn't feel it was secure and didn't trust the bank to achieve that level of security. And I think that's very true on the bank side as well. The second thing is that there's going to be a huge number of challenger organisations that are going to come about to present their services and try and take advantage of open banking. And the question arises, how do you actually connect to them to achieve the security, the speed of service, and the depth of service that's required? And finally, I think that there's going to be an interesting position with the banks whereby they have to decide what level of service they're going to supply themselves. And I'm not sure they've done that yet. But all of this ultimately will sit on infrastructure. All of it is going to have to sit on infrastructure that will have to change radically from where it is at the moment so that it can connect to other people, partner with, interconnect, and use sort of modern delivery methods as are required by now.
And in an increasingly competitive time, how are banks managing the need to offer innovative digital services to their customers? And would you say their legacy infrastructure is a constraint?
Well, I think this takes us back once again to banks' IT departments. I think perhaps looking at it from the outside, you might wonder if innovation was one of their particular strengths, and perhaps in the past it hasn't been. But I think we all know that banks have been looking to build up their skills in this areas. And they've been doing it through a variety of methods, such as obviously employing people from the fintech industries, bringing in digital experts to drive departments and units within them. And I think something that we have very much begun to see is sort of completely new innovation or digitization units being formed that take that out across the enterprise, because of course culturally they are perhaps less suited to this than other firms. But beyond that, we're also seeing them beginning to partner and indeed beginning to integrate with fintech companies. You know, we've seen examples of banks actually taking over appropriate fintech organizations, but certainly getting closer together with them, as well as exposing themselves to the fintech community through things like innovation hubs, where they've been setting up units that actually foster and develop fintech businesses, through hackathons and all that kind of thing, to bring thinking into their environment. But really, I think the conclusion of all this is that by whatever means they're doing it, they are now looking to innovate, they're now looking to digitize their services. And of course that leaves them with, I think perhaps one other problem, which is the whole infrastructure piece. Their infrastructure really has been suited to a sort of star topology, a sort of center from which everything operates. And of course, nowadays, everything is about connectivity to other partners. It's about using the edge so that people can get a performance on their mobiles, their tablets, and the other devices that people seek to use to access their accounts. So I think infrastructure is very much going to have to change in the next few years.
And finally, would you say the way forward is through strategic partnerships and collaboration with others? And what advantages will this bring?
I think the short answer is absolutely. Given the flexibility that the new world is bringing, given the range of services that it has the potential to deliver, they have to be looking at partnership now. Clearly, in the very early stages, there are plenty of things that banks can and are doing to improve this and bring a sort of open style of service. You know, if we look, for example, at the idea of a customer having a dashboard, they see all their accounts, one bank to another, in the same place. That sort of thing that they will be more than able to do. And I think perhaps in many ways, they may be the best place to do it. But beyond that, if you're trying to have truly innovative services, what do? Your alternatives are you build up a large team, but perhaps in terms of sort of big corporate, those sort of teams may struggle to do the same levels of innovation that more fleet-of-foot fintechs will. So I think partnership is definitely the route forward. The only question for me is do they do it through true partnership of really getting very close to a fintech or supplier? Do they do it through taking shares, ownership perhaps, but keeping them completely separate from the main business unit? And I think that will be interesting to see as that goes forward. But again, to me, all of this, the sort of upper level, sort of higher level service, is going to come back to what they're capable of delivering at the ground level. And the ground level has to come back to infrastructure. It has to come back to interconnection between the myriad parties that are involved in this now. And it has to come back to being able to provide the type of service that the modern consumer wants. And to be honest, that is very much edge-driven, very much on their mobile devices, wherever they are, whenever they choose to use it.
James, this has been great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching.